Welcome back to the Breaker Bros, and tonight we're gonna react to the first preseason game against the Eagles.
Brother, been hanging and banging, brother.
I would say starting out, it looked like the offense was doing really well. So that looked good. Yeah, the first string, and then the defense didn't really look that good.
No. It's kind of picked up where they left off last year. No?
Yeah, I think, and to be fair, I think there were about like 5 starters or so that weren't really playing either, but still it was against the Eagles second string.
Yeah.
And yeah, it didn't seem like they were.
The good news is we won't have to play the Eagles second string again. So
not unless we see him in the Super Bowl, which would be, I guess, a good thing.
Won't be the second string.
That's true. Very true. But no, the offense looked really good. It seemed like Joe Burrow and like the first string were hitting all cylinders. Offensive line looked pretty decent. I actually saw that Fairchild graded, I think, the best according to PFF in the first game or preseason game. I guess Patrick, the other guard, I don't know.
Shaky start, it seemed like.
Well, yeah, there was several bad plays for sure, but I mean, I guess I think there was something Zach Taylor, I guess he said it looked like the guards is with, or at least from what they saw from the film, they basically got what they were looking for, and I guess that kind of makes sense because as far as the right guard, I feel like as long as they can perform at or above Karras's level at the, I guess, price that they're paying, I guess is what they're looking for, which is kind of scary because it's like,
I know, it's just like, why does the price matter?
Well, I mean, I get it. I mean, if you're only paying Patrick like $2 or $3 million to start versus whatever they were going to pay Karras at like 12 or 10 or whatever it was, so it's like, from a price perspective, that makes sense. So they're kind of saving money for the same production, but I don't know.
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, do we really want them to be saving money at this point?
No, I mean, it feels like, and there's a lot of answers that still need to be figured out on the defense, but on the offensive side of the ball, I mean, they just look so good. So it's like, if the defense can be close to the middle of the pack, then they should have a team that could potentially go to the Super Bowl, you know? So it's like, so yeah, in a way, you kind of want them to go all in a sense, and kind of shore up, or at least have good options for the guard. But yeah. I mean, the silver lining was that Fairchild looked pretty good. Like, he looked pretty stout. And I even saw like that highlight with Jamar Chase, where he had that crazy catch on the sideline. There was like the end zone sideline view. If you watch it, you can actually see where Fairchild comes over to and helps with Karras, and like he kind of lays a hit on the defensive tackle, and he actually gets a pancake, or at least from what I could see. So Fairchild looked pretty good. The offense in general looked really good. It's just the defense was kind of like letting the air out of the balloon. But I think from what they said was that they weren't trying to do anything, I guess, challenging from like a scheme perspective. Like, they just wanted to see essentially people on one-on-ones.
Just gonna let them catch wide open passes.
Yeah, I don't know. There was definitely some breakdowns in either coverage, like just bad play, and then there was obviously that run where he basically went up the middle, the Eagles running back, and I don't know, he got like 30 yards on a pretty big open hole. But I think the problem with that was that the defensive line tried to do the stunt like on the other side, obviously, and that's why there was like a big gap left on the right side of the line.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like the next game will probably be a better preview. I guess a better example of what the real season is going to look like. Because I would imagine most of the starters for Washington is going to play the next game.
Yeah, I mean, for me, as long as nobody gets hurt, I feel bad even saying that, but it's hard to take too much from the preseason. Like individual players, they look athletic, but try to be positive, I guess, because I mean overall the beginning of the game the defense didn't look great. And then after the beginning of the game, it doesn't really matter anymore. But you don't know what they were doing. So it's hard to say. I mean, some guys look pretty bad. Like Murphy did not look good at the beginning of the game. It's against second stringers, so it's sort of like, sheesh.
Yeah, I think the thing with Murphy, because like there was a play or two where it seemed like he could have done something, but then because the one I can remember was he pushed the offensive lineman basically back into the quarterback, but he couldn't disengage, and then the quarterback was able just to kind of get around the pressure,
right,
and create a play, and it was just like it could have been a good play, but it was just for some reason he could not disengage from the offensive lineman. So. And then as far as like Stewart, it seemed like when he had like true like one-on-one pass rush, he did pretty good. But it also seemed like they had him stunning or like slanting into the line where he wasn't doing like a true like one-on-one pass rush.
Yeah.
But then I also heard TJ Slanton said that they want to see him cover Shamar Stewart.
Yeah, that's what I want to see.
Well, I think the thing with him and what's probably going to unlock Al Golden's defense is that they want to be able to trick the opposing quarterback. So they're going to show like a lot of different looks. And I think for Shamar Stewart, like he can kind of be a joker on the defense where you can kind of disguise things and make him do a lot of different things. But it feels like he's going to end up, I mean, eventually just starting on the opposite end of Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, because I heard, I think Osai got hurt today. So I think Stewart was taking a lot of first-string snaps.
Right.
But I think that was their plan.
Price just keeps going up for Hendrickson, huh?
Yeah, I guess that's my thing about it is, I mean, if anything that showed his true value, that preseason game should have showed something, because it's like you kind of need him on the defensive line because it feels like the opposing team is going to have to put so much focus on him that it's going to open other things up. So I'm hoping, I don't know. I feel like early next week, I guess because it's a Monday night game, the second preseason game. I feel like during like a normal like week for a Monday night game, like I guess practice really starts on Wednesday. And I feel like that would be the timetable to actually sign Hendrickson. Like if they're truly saying like, okay, this year's different and they want to start off like hot, then I feel like they got to sign him by Wednesday.
And then about every play.
And then like actually get him to practice and really treat the second game as like the precursor to the beginning of the year. Now, even if he signs, I'm not sure if that means that they'll like even play him, because obviously he missed some time. So maybe they'll try to ease him in.
I'd hope so.
But I also feel like, well, I mean, if it was week 1 and he didn't practice, they would still play him, right? Like say if he signed right before the season.
Week 1 counts.
Right, but I think the thought is that, he's a veteran. He knows what it takes. He should be in shape, that type of thing. So it shouldn't be that big of a deal. But I guess my point is that if this is really like the season that they're trying to change everything, then I would like to see him sign something by Wednesday. So this second preseason game really feels like a regular season game, and they can start to prepare like they would normally. But I guess it goes back to the first preseason game, is that it feels like, yeah, the preseason for the offense is important, but it feels more necessary for the defense because they're still going to have to work a few things out. And it was obvious based off of how they played this first game that there's a lot of things that they're still going to have to answer. But to me, it's still going to make a big difference when Trey Hendrickson comes back, and then we'll have Cam Taylor-Britt and Dax Hill is going to be playing a little bit more. So I feel like they're going to fill in a little bit more of gaps where they kind of got burnt in that first preseason game. I don't even think BJ Hill played either. So
no, he didn't play.
And I think was it TJ Slayton, the guy that we signed from Green Bay? I think he only played a few plays, or maybe just like the first defensive series.
He played at the beginning of the game when the defense was. I mean, they were giving up big runs and whatnot while he was in there.
Yeah, but I feel like even on that big run, it was to the other side. It wasn't like. But then after the
Chris
first
Jenkins
series,
was supposed to be good, right? I mean, it was Chris Jenkins and TJ Slayton. So
from what, and again, this is just because I'm not like a defensive coach and I don't know what schemes that they're doing, but it did kind of make sense after watching the replay. But it seemed like they tried to do a stunt to the other side. So they had like extra defensive linemen kind of running to the other side, and then they ran the opposite way. And they just couldn't get back in the time.
I'm sticking with the game doesn't count. You can't read too much into it.
That's true. Like you can't get too high, you can't get too low. But
so, I mean, they played. They got some reps. It was a good practice
against a quality team too. I mean, the Eagles probably has one of the better rosters, at least top 5 in the NFL. I would probably even say top 3, just based off of like how they draft the last couple of years and how stout their defense is. And I don't know, it seems like they have playmakers throughout their offense. So
I guess, but still a second string offensive line.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm just saying, like, in general, it's still a pretty good team.
It's just like, how do they build that second string offensive line, man? We'd take some of those guys to start.
Probably. I'm sure there's 1 or 2.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, can they play right guard?
Yeah, I'm sure we would probably take their second string right guard over ours right now, for sure.
Yeah. So,
but was there like anyone that stood out to you?
Anyone what?
Bengals player in the first preseason game? Do you think anyone stocks up?
I was watching the first couple series. I was watching Fairchild. He looked pretty good. He looked pretty strong. Taj Brooks made some good blocks in the backfield. I mean, Chase Brown looked really good. I mean,
yeah.
I was watching Chase Brown. I'm like, that's enough. That's enough. You know.
Yeah. That's how I felt about the first series. I was like,
give him a baseball hat, have him go sit somewhere. Like, we've seen enough. You know, you don't want to beat up your running back in the preseason. It's just like, you know, get Taj Brooks some work with the first string, and then, you know, get old P. Ryan out there. I'm just saying, you know, Chase Brown looked pretty dynamic and powerful too. So.
Anyone on the defense?
No.
Actually, from what I saw and from what I could see, like on Bengals Twitter, is that our boy McKinley Jackson, I think, did pretty good too.
Well, to be fair, I only watched the first quarter.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I like. I mean, I thought. I mean, I feel like the Bengals Talk people, or what's the daily podcast, Bengals daily podcast. They seem to be kind of down on McKinley Jackson. Like, thought maybe he was overdrafted. I like the draft pick. I like him as a player. So
he's got like a really quick first step or something, because it seems like he can get in the backfield kind of often. And there was even a few plays where like he got into the backfield so quickly that I think on one of the plays, like the running back was able to get around him, but he did have 2 tackles for loss. But yeah, I feel like if you watch his highlights, he's one of those players that can consistently get into the backfield. And actually, I was randomly watching one of the highlights against I forget which team it was, but it was the Bengals highlights last year in one of the weeks. And it was a McKinley Jackson where he got into the backfield. I think he hit the running back right after he got the ball, caused the fumble, and then that's when Battle picked it up and ran it. Oh, I think it was against Tennessee actually, and he ran it into the end zone, but he dropped the ball before he got it, and it ended up being like a turnover, or the Titans got the ball back. But it was kind of funny because it's one of those plays where, if Battle actually held the ball and they scored the touchdown, you kind of remember that play a little bit more. But since it ended up being another turnover, you kind of forget about it. But yeah, he made impact plays like that, and I think, I don't know. I guess I also saw that maybe he might be in like the doghouse, and I guess maybe that's why they waited pretty late into the game to let him play. But once he did, he made an impact.
Who, Battle?
No, McKinley Jackson.
Oh, he's in the.
I'm just saying, last year when McKinley Jackson had like a hit in the backfield, caused a fumble, Battle picked it up and was about to run it for a touchdown, and then that's when he dropped it right before the goal line, and then it like rolls out of the back of the end zone, and the Titans get the ball back.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that, like, in terms of the defensive line, if BJ Hill is, just precaution, he comes back, I just feel like the defensive line is going to be night and day better than it was to begin last season. Because, McKinley Jackson and Chris Jenkins weren't even available at the beginning of the season.
And I felt like the last half of the season, when they were starting to get a little bit more healthy, they were making impact plays. Because I feel like Jenkins was starting to get sacks towards the end of the year. And then, and then McKinley Jackson's were having these plays where he's getting like tackles for losses and stuff like that. Like, yeah, it's crazy how, because he's a bigger guy, but it feels like he's, I guess, fairly quick for his size.
Mm-hmm.
But he also played with Shamar Stewart, so I think.
Yeah. I will say the one note that I'm like, think can be retired now is like talking about how Fairchild and Mims played together in college. It's like they're not next to each other. It doesn't help. I'm not offensive line coach, but I don't think it helps if the left guard played with the right tackle in college. I don't think that there's like any benefit to that.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be different if they were actually right next to each other.
I feel like you gotta be next to the guy for like the familiarity to help. But so hopefully they stop talking about that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's still rumors out there that once Trey is signed, that they could bring in another veteran, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I also can kind of see that too. I think they're just trying to see how things play out.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also that thought is that part of the reason why they haven't signed a vet right now is just because they don't want to participate in training camp right now. Like they've been through it.
That's my theory.
No, I think it's a real thing. Like, especially for someone that's been in the league 10 plus years. Like, you pretty much know what you got in the tank, and it's pretty much across the league too. It's like a lot of these veterans that have a lot of experience, like they're not really playing the preseason either. So it's like a BJ Hill.
Yeah, but I think like the guys are just like, well, if I'm going to get, if every single team I'm talking to, and I don't know if this is the right number, but say like you're talking to like 3 teams and they're all saying you're going to get $6 million, then you're just like, okay, well, I'll just wait until the last minute and get paid and then not have to work that month, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of weird after watching the first preseason game. I'm not as worried as I am with the guards as I was, and I am a little bit more worried maybe about the secondary for the Bengals defense. So but I think after the second preseason game, I think we'll have a better idea for sure.
Well,
because I feel like more starters will.
This is gonna sound stupid, right? But I feel like as long as the Bengals can keep other teams honest on the run, because Because usually, if you're under overmatched team, right? Take like the Patriots week 1. They're just like, oh, we're just not going to throw it. We're just going to run it as much as we can, shorten the game, and then keep it close because Burrow doesn't get as many possessions, right? But if the defense is going to be bad, you'd rather than be bad at having teams throw the ball, because then I feel like the Bengals can win a shootout, right? Like if the Patriots came in, they're like, oh, we're just going to try to outscore the Bengals. They would lose, right? Because
Plus, it's an advantage for the defense if they're throwing the ball because we have Trey Hendrickson, and then because he's not going to get there all the time, but he's going to get there a fair amount. And
well, but that's the thing though. Like if you're trying to outscore people, then it's sort of like who has the ball last kind of thing.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna be bad, you want to at least make sure the team can't keep the ball away from you, right? Because if they score, you're all your money's on, guys that score, right? Burrow and Higgins and Chase. So you feel like, okay, well, at least maybe we can outscore them. So,
I'm just saying,
the run defense.
To your point, like if it is a shootout and they're having to throw, especially towards the end of the game,
that's
I think back to like the Steelers, the second Steelers game last year, where Hendrickson basically closed out the game because I think he ended the game with like 2 or 3 sacks, and it's just like that's it. It's just when Hendrickson makes his plays, it's because like he gets to the quarterback within like 2.5 seconds, and there's just nothing you can do.
Yeah,
and not to say he's going to have like 17 sacks this year again, because I feel like that would kind of be asking a lot, but he's going to have a pretty good amount at the very least pressures. And then if Shamar Stewart is as what he's advertised and kind of like what we thought he was, it's kind of funny because like I feel like when we initially watched this film and what we were talking about, now everyone's starting to come around to it. Now they can kind of see the vision with Shamar Stewart.
Yeah, I just think that he's such an upgrade to play with Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you're not saying that Shamar Stewart needs to get 17 sacks. You're saying that Shamar Stewart needs to be disruptive so that teams can't completely focus on Trey Hendrickson. Because if they're sliding all their protections over there and he's getting the one-on-ones, he's going to cause problems.
He just needs to be a nice compliment, which I think he is, because I think he can cause his own pressure, but I think also the advantage with him is that he's probably a better run defender than what Trey Hendrickson would be normally too. Is that even in college, I think Shamar Stewart had a pretty good run grade, run stoppage grade.
I don't know if that's true, but the other thing I will say is that because he can be an upgrade as a complementary player, then you have time and he'll get reps to develop. Maybe he's got the physical ability to be like the number one guy, but his floor is so high that I feel like he can be disruptive as a complementary guy that you can put him out there.
Well, the good thing is that he's already showing it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the thing. He looks like he looked in college. He looks just stronger and faster than the guy across from him, and like maybe he's not going to get the sack, but they got other guys that can do that. And then,
it's just
maybe he'll develop those skills. And even if he doesn't, he's still. I mean, it's still like that late in the first round. That's still a good pick.
Well, and it's just consistent pressure is going to cause errors. So it's just like, especially if you can get it from both ends.
Mm-hmm.
But not even that. Like I would like to see Shamar Stewart line like inside of Hendrickson. Because I feel like both of them coming from the same side would just
like
be really difficult.
3rd and long, you put in Osai at the edge and then kick Shamar Stewart and have him rush up the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like him next to Hendrickson, like who are you going to double? Just like if you double one of the people, then the other one's going to get free. Because I think Shamar showed even like against Bengals players that 1-on-1 he can just push the guard back. Like if it's a true 1-on-1.
Yeah, and he's a tall guy too, so collapse in the pocket a little bit, but then he can get his hands up.
But the only thing I'll say about that is just it seems like when he does rush from the inside, there are going to be a lot of double teams. But then again, if he's next to Trey, they're most likely going to double Trey.
Yeah.
And if not, then you're going to guarantee a one-on-one with Trey, and then like
nobody's going to do that.
Well, we'll see.
I mean, not on purpose.
No, but I mean, there's things that you can kind of scheme, and maybe there's just a breakdown in communication because I feel like Trey and Shamar on the same side, like they're just going to be so fast off the line that it's just going to catch people off guard. And I feel like they both have like that bull rush power where they can just collapse the pocket. So it'd just be kind of like a wave collapse in the pocket. But then I don't know. I saw that Osai got hurt, and then I kind of saw the same thing that you saw with Murphy. It's just, man, I feel like I think what it comes down to, I just don't think he knows how to use his hands effectively, and because like if it comes to just speed and getting around someone, he's fast enough. But I think because I saw in that play where he pushed the lineman basically back into the quarterback, but he could just not get off the lineman. And that was kind of like Trey's specialty, was that if he gets close to the quarterback, he's going to get the sack. And I've seen plenty of times where like he pushes the guy back into the quarterback, but he's still able to either disengage or at least get another hand onto the quarterback and like drag him down. And I feel like that's what Murphy kind of needs to develop. But then again, it's just one preseason game. There's like so much.
Except it's not just one preseason game with Murphy.
Well, it is for this year but the thing is like when I think about towards the end of last year, I mean, he was getting consistent pressures. Like when he was playing, it was the problem was towards the end of the year that all the young people or young players were starting to like kick into gear, and Osai had a pretty strong second half of the season where I think he had like 5 sacks, something like that. And I think that would really limited Murphy's playing time. But then when I remember him towards the end of the year, like he was getting back and causing pressures. It's just he wasn't like closing it out. But I felt like this preseason game, it seemed like he was pretty controlled. Like it wasn't like he was causing any real disruption.
Yeah.
Like he had that one play where maybe he kind of got a pressure, but the quarterback did a pretty good job of just kind of going around it and created a play himself because he created more time. And I think they converted on like a third down to get a first down on that play.
Yeah. I guess the takeaway from the preseason game is we'll pretend like the stuff that went well is what's going to happen in the regular season. And all the things that were bad, we're just going to say, it's the preseason. They'll sort it out.
I think, if anything, it shows you at the very least.
Baby.
Well, as far as the offense, because they're not going to score every single drive. Like, that's not realistic. But it does feel like they're going to be at least as good as what they were last year, which was pretty good. Because I can even see it where Chase can do even better from last year. Like that play that he had where
statistically, I don't know. It's going to be tough.
It's going to be tough, but I mean, he's different. I don't know, because it's just a simple play. Like, and again, I get it. It's against backups, but I think the corner that he did it against was like a higher draft pick, I think. But he's just so quick. He had the play. It was on the opposite sideline, but it's very similar to the Dallas play where he catches on the sideline, like on an out route or whatever, and then he breaks back into the field and outruns the coverage. And like, I only think like 3 receivers can do what he can do in that type of stuff, and it might only be him. Because for most receivers, that should be like at the maximum, right? A 20-yard play, which is pretty good. But he turns it into like a 36-yard touchdown, like it's nothing. And I think it's just his acceleration is like top tier. I mean, that's what it has to be. It just like when he runs, it just feels different. Versus like when you watch other people run.
I'm just saying that like to expect more production. I don't know if that's realistic.
I don't know if they
that's
can expect
necessarily a
more
good thing,
production, but you can expect
because-
more efficiency.
well, maybe out of the offense overall, because I mean, I don't feel like all the receivers played together very much at all last season.
Well, I think the thing is like, okay, imagine if Eric All could play the full season. I think that would open way more options, and I think we kind of have that with Fant, and I think that could be the piece that puts us over the edge a little bit more than what we did last year.
Well, I'm just saying, like, how about if Higgins and Chase play together all season?
That's true. That's another thing. You're right. If
And,
Higgins
like,
and Chase can stay healthy the full
what
season,
if Charlie Jones plays all year?
that's true as well.
So I mean, that's what I mean. But the more receivers you have out there, though, the harder the harder the offense is to cover. But I don't know that necessarily translates to stats for Chase. I think the offense might score more points, and it might even be better. But I don't know that Chase will have quite the production.
I don't know, because that was my initial thought going into the year, but then just watching that preseason game, I don't know. It feels different, right? Versus last year, where because he was holding in essentially, Chase was, and he didn't look like Chase until was it week 3 or 4?
Yeah, that's
and
true.
then he really, but he's hitting the ground running before they even get into the regular season. Is what I'm saying. So I guess he's going to start a bit earlier than what he did last year. And to your point, if they can keep Higgins healthy throughout the whole year, that would be another thing, because to have them two on the field. Plus, like I was saying before, I think Fant is really because like if you can have a little bit more disguise, if Fant's on the field, you don't know if it's going to be a run or a pass. Because if you don't have that, then if you know what tight end is playing, then you pretty much know if it's going to be a pass or a run play, right? Versus Tanner or not Tanner, Sample in Gesicki. It's like you see Gesicki in like 80% of the time it's going to be a pass. If it's Sample, 80% of the time it's probably going to be a run. Fant, it's 50-50. So it's like, or maybe it's probably closer 60-40 pass, 40 run. But I just think it can create more miscommunications on the defensive side. But I don't know. It looked like the offense was just so dialed in. Like they were at where we saw them in like week 4 or 6 or whatever, when they really started to turn it on and didn't turn it off. So that's pretty exciting. But then it's just like the defense kind of still looks like the defense, which is pretty alarming.
Just ignore that.
Well, it's not to be ignored. It's just you kind of have to acknowledge it, right? And hopefully,
I don't. I could ignore it.
well, I think what we
like
want to
it didn't
see is
happen.
at least in the second preseason game, you just want to see them do the corrections, right? I think
It doesn't matter. It's preseason.
I think it
Unless they do
matters.
good, then they could be the 85 Bears this year. But it doesn't matter. They'll figure it out week 1.
Yeah, because I think when the regular season hits, it's going to be, the offense is not going to look as good as what it's looked already. But then I don't think the defense is going to look as bad.
Oh, the offense is going to be good, though.
For sure. But, I mean, they're not going to score every single drive. Like, that's not realistic. Because that's not real life. Like, it's just...
it's a preseason. We don't have to live real life, man.
That's science, baby. That's fact.
But yeah, I think, I guess we'll know more about the second preseason game as it goes on, or as the week goes on. I don't know if the Washington confirmed if they're going to play their starters. I would assume they probably are.
Yeah, I think
we know the Bengals will.
The week 2 is going to be the rehearsal for the first half kind of thing. Then I would bet that the last preseason game is going to.
Well, I know Washington this week they didn't play any of their starters, but I think it's going to be a little bit different next week. At least for the Bengals, they pretty much confirmed that they'll probably play I would assume the first 2 quarters, because they basically played all the first quarter this first preseason game. Because I was thinking
Yeah.
like,
They said something about that actually.
well, yeah, no, I think it's going to be, because they said a few series the first game, and then they
Yeah.
basically made it sound like the second game was going to be like the first half,
Yeah.
which makes sense. But the first drive for the Bengals was so long that I was like, oh man, they're good. Like, you don't need to give them a second series, but they end up putting them out there anyways. And they still look pretty good and pretty efficient. But yeah, so I would assume that they're probably going to play the first couple of quarters, at least get them into the half, and then, but I mean, hopefully Washington plays their starters, because I would like to kind of have a better idea of how each side is performing. And I think some of the starters that didn't play in the first preseason game, will definitely play in the second preseason game.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Okay.
Well, was there anything else you wanted to add?
No, I think I'm good.
Yeah. No, I think, I don't know. The preseason's fun just to see some of the rookies or younger players get action or whatever, and see how they perform. But it's always too, it's just like, it's a preseason. It doesn't really count. You kind of want the regular season to get here. But I think for Bengals fans, there's a lot of things that they want to see out of the team. So I don't know. It feels a little bit different this year, I guess, because there's more emphasis of them playing in the preseason. So I don't know. Hopefully the second preseason game goes pretty good. Or I would like to see more of the starters play on each side. But I guess we'll have another stream before, because it's going to be Monday night. They're technically not going to play next week.
Right.
So I guess we'll have a little bit more information going into the week 2 preseason. And then, of course, no one's going to really care about the third preseason game, but it's just another week closer
nobody. You know, there's going to be guys trying to make teams. And so.
Yeah, I mean, if they don't sign a veteran guard by that time, I think for most Bengals fans, it's going to be checking other
I feel
teams.
like the Bengals are going to be watching like the last maybe not the Bengals last preseason game matters that much. Maybe our opponent, but I mean, I could see, the Bengals trying to get some of these last cuts at some of our weaker spots. There might be people that can help the Bengals.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I'm saying. If they don't sign someone, a veteran guard before that, then they may pick someone off a different roster that gets cut. Yeah. So we'll see. All right. Well,
that's it.
Yep. Peace.